Hey everybody, it's Jack
and Roma
from No Notions Travel, and welcome back to the Travel Reel, the video series where we show you where some of your favourite films were shot and how exactly to visit these iconic locations.
This week we are going to talk about the classic 1994 film, Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump is a sprawling, multi-decade story that follows the main character, Forrest, from childhood up to his later years.
The film was incredibly well received, making $677 million in the box office and winning numerous Oscars and Golden Globes for Best Director, Best Soundtrack and Best Picture.
Forrest Gump is a massive cultural icon in the film world, and in 2011 the Library of Congress added the film to the National Film Registry for being historically and aesthetically important in the world of cinema.
So just a quick spoiler warning from this point onwards, we are going to be going into some minor story spoilers for the movie, so if you want to be unspoiled then check the movie out. Honestly, if there is anyone watching this who hasn't seen Forrest Gump,
fair play.
Go away. Because honestly...
I'm more impressed than anything.
I'm not. Just come back and watch this if you want. If you dare. You've been warned.
So the film follows Forrest Gump. From seeing him as a child, he tells us of his life story, jumping from decade to decade.
We see him as a young child being fitted with leg braces and living alone with his mother who runs a boarding house. One of the many tenants who stay with him is a young Elvis Presley who uses Forrest's jerky movements as inspiration for his famous dancing.
While attending school, Forrest meets Jenny, and they instantly become best friends.
Run, Forrest! Run!
As a teenager, we see Forrest repeatedly getting bullied, and while running away from a car, Forrest discovers that he can run at an incredible speed.
This leads to Forrest getting a football scholarship to the University of Alabama, in which he wanders into the stand at the schoolhouse door. This is the event in which 2 black students would become the first black students of the University of Alabama.
Forrest ends up joining the army and meeting his best friend Benjamin Buford Blue, or Bubba, who convinces Forrest to join him in the shrimping business after their service.
Shrimp salad, shrimp and potatoes, shrimp burger, shrimp sandwich.
The film has many instances in which Forrest is directly involved in historical events, including him meeting John F. Kennedy as well as Lyndon B. Johnson, fighting in Vietnam, travelling the world playing ping pong, inspiring John Lennon to write Imagine, and being responsible for exposing the Watergate scandal.
In this episode, we're going to talk about some of the locations that Forrest Gump was filmed and where you can visit. A number of buildings like Jenny's childhood home and Forrest's mother's boarding home were built specifically for the film and were taken down when the filming had wrapped.
The entire film was shot in America. Washington, D.C. was used for a number of scenes. Locations like Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool, the Washington Monument, and the Watergate Hotel are easy to find in DC.
Forrest's 3-year run shows numerous locations across America. Some of the locations include Marshall Point Lighthouse in Maine, Blue Ridge Parkway, North Carolina, the Twin Arrows Trading Post in Arizona, and ends at Monument Valley between Utah and Arizona.
A lot of the film was shot around South Carolina and Mississippi. Some of the key locations are... The famous scene with the bench was shot in Savannah, Georgia at the Chippewa Square, on the north side facing Bull Street. The bench was moved due to increased tourism of the spot.
Forrest's school was the Hampton Street Elementary School in Walterboro.
3547 Combahee Road, Yamasee, was the location where Forrest was chased by the bullies, but is a road that leads onto a private property, so best not to create the famous scene.
The boat scenes were shot in Port Royal, South Carolina, and a jet engine was used to recreate the winds from the hurricane. The Vietnam scenes were shot on Fripp Island in Georgia and Hunting Island State Park in South Carolina.
It would be difficult to plan a trip around seeing all of these locations, but if we were to recommend a way to see them all, a visit to Savannah would be a worthwhile experience for any Forrest Gump fan. A nice little segue right there as we lead into the fan tours section.
Do you like segues, Roma? The Explore Georgia website hosts a page dedicated to the locations of Forrest Gump. Not an official tour, the page gives a brief rundown of a handful of scenes in the local area, promoting a self-guided tour. In the absence of an official tour, a self-guided tour of the South with a peppering of Washington DC's important locations will tick enough boxes for any Forrest Gump fan. The next is the trivia. Trivia, Roma.
Yep, trivia time. Absolutely love trivia, oh my god, for this movie. It's exceptional. Okay, so with every transition of Forrest's age, one thing remains the same. In the first scene of each transition, he wears a blue plaid shirt.
The running scene was inspired by an actual event. In 1982, Louis Michael Figueroa, age 16, ran from New Jersey to San Francisco for the American Cancer Society.
The park bench that Tom Hanks sat on for much of the movie was located in historic Savannah, Georgia, at Chippewa Square. The fiberglass bench he sat on since then has been removed and placed into a museum to avoid being destroyed by bad weather or possibly stolen. To this day, the bench is held in the Savannah History Museum, Savannah, in Georgia.
When Gump calls to report the Watergate burglary, the security guard answering the phone says, "Security, Frank Wills." He was the actual guard on duty during the night, and he was the person who discovered the break-in on June 17th, 1972.
Kurt Russell did the voice of Elvis Presley. I didn't know that.
Kurt Russell also auditioned to be one of the kids in Sound of Music.
He did?
Yeah. Bit of a
It's a
Kurt
very
Russell trend
heavy
here.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
I like your Kurt Russell.
Thanks.
David Alan Grier, Ice Cube, and Dave Chappelle turned down the role for Bubba. Ice Cube refused to play an idiot, and Chappelle thought the movie would bomb. Chappelle had since admitted to deeply regretting not taking the role.
All of the boat scenes, including the hurricane scene, were shot on location in the waters off the coast of South Carolina. A jet engine was used to generate the hurricane winds, and the still and newsreel shots of the trawlers on land are news shots of the aftermath of Hurricane Hugo in South Carolina in 1989.
Every still picture of Forrest during the film shows Tom Hanks with his eyes closed.
I love that.
It's so funny.
Magician Ricky Jay designed a special wheelchair for Gary Sinise that used an illusion to hide his legs, which were on a hidden platform underneath. The contortion required to sit in it meant that Sinise could only be in it for about 10 minutes at a time.
During the ambush in Vietnam, the enemy is never actually seen. This led many combat veterans, especially Vietnam veterans, to rate this as one of the most accurate combat scenes in movie history. It was very sudden, the enemy isn't seen, and it happens very quickly.
Haley Joel Osment makes his film debut in this movie as Forrest Jr.
Which I didn't know.
Did you not know that was him?
No!
Oh.
And then speaking of children that we didn't know were in it, Robert Zemeckis and Tom Hanks' children are both on the bus.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're the two, the blonde girl.
Bring your kids to work day.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it's Trivia Roma. This is about the sequel. Do you want to...
Fucking hell, that's a lot of trivia.
Do you want to hold on to the baton, or do you
No,
want to
you take it. I don't know any of this.
So, Forrest Gump is based off a novel.
Okay,
You knew
I knew
that?
that, yeah.
It's by Eric Roth. But following the movie's release, he actually wrote a follow-up novel.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
So it's called Forrest Gump and Co. And it takes place after the events of the movie and book, because they're pretty close in events of everything that happens.
Okay,
So it opens with Forrest waiting for his son to come home from school.
okay.
So along with that, it opens with Forrest telling the reader to never let people make a movie about their lives. And the quote is, whether they get it right or wrong, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So the book suggests that the movie and book garnered a lot of attention to the real life Forrest Gump.
So there is a real life Forrest Gump
No,
then?
this is the thing. It's a weird meta thing where
Okay.
the book was about Forrest Gump
Yeah.
and the movie came out. But then the movie came out in the universe of the book.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so then the
okay.
sequel is set after the movie's come out.
Oh, that's cool.
And in the novel, Forrest Gump meets Tom Hanks. He goes on the David Letterman show and he attends the Academy Awards.
Why didn't they make that?
So, I will answer you this question. The movie was released in 1993 and
Yeah.
the book was released in 94, right?
Yeah, but that's very quick.
Yeah, that's very quick.
Yeah.
The author was screwed over in the original movie deal. So it was supposed to be like a percentage of the profits, but then the studio told the author and had paperwork to say that it actually ran at a deficit in terms of profit. So he didn't get anything.
Oh my god.
But he sold the rights to the sequel for like a 7-digit number.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been in development hell since the 90s. And it'll probably never get made.
No, because they can't exactly make it. Because now Tom Hanks is 30 years older.
Yeah.
So he can't exactly play. I cannot believe they never made that. That is disgraceful.
Now, do you want to know something fun? Because I didn't include this in it, but it's something that I read while I was looking up this.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks and whatever director was attached to it said it would be in poor taste.
Spielberg?
No,
Or
it's
Zemeckis?
Zemeckis. But it wasn't Zemeckis in the sequel.
Oh.
But Tom Hanks and this other person said that it'd be in poor taste because at the time they were trying to put it together, 9/11 had just happened.
Okay.
So they didn't do it.
Why? Because it'd have to include 9/11.
They'd have to do it in a post 9/11 world. or they'd be making a film that's completely ignoring it when it's so tied to historical events like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they'd
So-
also like, then they'd have to include 9/11 in it.
Yeah.
If they were going
Probably
to acknowledge
not
it.
though, because it's like set in the 90s. But it'd be weird
Yeah.
just coming out, because this
Yeah,
was like
that's true.
it'd be 94 when the book came out, so it was probably like 95, 96, 97.
Right.
So it'd be pretty close. And if it was in development hell, it could be pushed up to 2000s, and then it probably got to a point where 9/11 happened that it just stopped.
Yeah.
But you know what? Fair play to Eric Roth, because he sold the rights to that, and it's never going to get made, and he made like 7 digits.
I'm going to go read that book now.
I'd be interested.
If I can't watch the movie, I'll read the book. That's cool though.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
I like that. That's probably my favourite bonus trivia, I think.
This is one of your favourite movies, though.
It is one of my favourite movies.
Yeah.
But this is definitely one of my
Really?
favourite trivia. That's probably my favourite bonus trivia we've had so far.
It's very interesting.
It is interesting.
Yep.
I think it was around 2001 that you wrote the sequel.
I wrote the sequel, literally I turned it in the day before 9/11.
Wow.
And Tom and I and Bob got together on 9/11 to sort of commiserate about how life was in America and how tragic it was. And we looked at each other and said, this movie has no meaning anymore in that sense. It was going to start basically with the little boy, his little boy having, AIDS. And people wouldn't go to class with him in Florida. One of the funny things is I had him in the back of O.J.'s Bronco. And that he would look up occasionally, and they didn't see him in the rearview, he popped down. I had him as a ballroom dancer who was really good. I mean, he could do the rote ballroom dancing, and eventually, just as sort of a charity kind of thing, he danced with Princess Diana. So those kind of things we had. Every day he'd go wait for the his Native American partner. She taught nursery school at a sort of a government building there in Oklahoma City. And he was sitting on the bench waiting for her to have lunch, and all of a sudden the building behind him blows up. So that was our big sort of event for that, And anyway, so when 9/11 occurred, I think we felt maybe everything we had written was meaningless. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything felt meaningless.
You think that's never going to see the light of day?
I would say not. I think it wouldn't be our first choice, and we thought this was pretty special, and maybe it should just be left alone. But I tried.
So I think that is all we have today for Forrest Gump,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately.
If Forrest Gump or any other movies made you want to visit another country, tell us in the comments below.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button to make sure you see when we upload the travel reel videos and more videos on affordable holidays.
Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Travel Reel.
Bye!
Bye!
Is there any quotes from Forrest Gump where he says bye?
No. And I think if there was, I'd probably start crying.
Okay.
If there's anything you need, I won't be far away.
Good record.
Yeah, nice.
Nice.
Go team.